Hey guys, this is Gary J. Today we're going to be looking at a shotgun, one of my favorite over and under shotguns, and this is called the Charles Daly shotgun. Now, some of you people who've heard of Charles Daly probably have mixed opinions on the quality and workmanship of Charles Daly. It's kind of interesting when you look at some of their guns, rifles, and pistols that Charles Daly has made, that there were some problems with them. You know, if we look back at the beginning of the company of Charles Daly, we see that it kind of has a real checkered past. And it goes back to around 1893 that a man named Daly got involved with guns. He was a blacksmith back in those days, and yeah, that was a tough time back in 1893, but he partnered up with a couple of other people, and they eventually settled on a name for their company, and it would be called Charles Daly. And after coming up with this name, Charles Daly was not really a manufacturer. This is one of the keys about Charles Daly. They're not really manufacturers of guns, of rifles, shotguns, and pistols. They actually had them made or bought them from various countries. And they would put their name on them as Charles Daly. And so depending on what country that gun was made in, gave you some idea as to the quality and the workmanship of that particular rifle, shotgun, or whatever. So they had a lot of problems. Now, Charles Daly was a rifle, shotguns, and pistols. They were probably about, I would just guess, about 25% cheaper than other guns similar to them. Now, like Winchester, Remington, and others, they made really good guns in the past and still do today. Charles Daly was at sub-level, subpar type, and you got it for a lot cheaper than what you could pay for a Winchester or Remington. And sometimes you got a very pretty gun, and so people like that. You know, some people just, they don't want to spend that much money. And this was kind of the answer to some of their dilemmas. So they came out with the Charles Daly in the American market, and it could have been made in Italy, it could have been made in Istanbul in Turkey. It could have come from various different countries, and so therefore you just didn't know the quality of them. So with that kind of checkered past, some people love them, some people hate them. There were versions of some of these rifles and shotguns that were horrible. Some of them were superior in many ways. And you just really have to study and know Charles Daly to know which ones to buy if you're a collector. This one is a really good one here. A great shotgun here. One of my favorite all-time shotguns. It belonged to a master gunsmith. A great friend of mine, and he shot it a lot, and thousands of times he shot this shotgun right here. And one day he was with a gunsmith and a master gunsmith. He was a machinist also. So, if you had a part that was broken, if you couldn't find that part, he'd just make it. He could use a milling machine and a lathe and whatever. He could make any part. He could make the whole gun if he wanted to. He was that good. So anyway, he had this one, and he was selling it because they, gunsmiths have a lot of guns, and they sell them and fix them and so forth. But this was one of his favorites, and I thought, well, that's a Charles Daly. That's not like high end model. That's not like a Browning. That's not like some of these real expensive double barrels. But I wanted a double barrel at the time. This was years ago. And I said, well, what kind of price you going to get for that? And he told me, and I thought, well, that's a little bit high, but everything I've seen is very close to that. But he told me how accurate it was and what a great gun this one is by Charles Daly. And he told me in dove hunting, he had killed 180 doves, I believe, out of 200 shots, 180 doves out of 200 shots, which is pretty incredible. He was a master shooter as well and marksman. And But I said, after you told me that you shot this thing thousands of times, I said, I'm worried now that the sears in the back of this gun and the trigger system and all that's worn out. Now that you shot it so many times. And he said, no. He said, recently I just rebuilt everything in this shotgun. All the sears, everything in here, all that's been rebuilt. It's just like brand new. Now, if he said he did that, he did that. He's one of those guys, he didn't lie. And so he rebuilt this whole section here, and he reblued the gun as well. And so it's like a brand new gun when he got through with it after having shot it that many times. And he told me also he accurized the barrels on it. And that's really interesting when you think about accurizing the barrels. And we'll talk about what that means. But it's just a beautiful gun, and we'll look a little bit closer at this, and we'll look at the stock, and then we'll look at the barrel, and then the action part. Okay, right here, we're looking at the stock right here. Now, this is really beautifully done on this stock right here. It's just got a real beautiful gloss to it. It doesn't have what I would call really fancy wood right there in the stock, but it looks really nice. And then we can see some of our checkering right here. And that's a really nice hand-done checkering right there. And then we see some pretty wood right here. And then we come to our forearm. And the forearm here, it has a beautiful checkering. That's all hand-done too. And kind of a round front end there. So this is kind of what this side of the stock looks like, and it's a very pretty in different parts of the wood here, and just a beautiful design on this Charles Daly. Okay, I've turned the shotgun around, and on this side we've got a little bit more coloration here, and that looks pretty nice right there. I'll get the focus. And this really looks nice right here. And we see our checkering here. So this side's got some pretty wood on it. Wood just makes a gun to me. That's the whole thing. Wood just brings the gun alive. I like it so much better than synthetic. And I understand the purpose of synthetic stocks, believe me, but the gun just seems so much more when you have beautiful wood in it. Now look from the top right here. Let's see, his hand grip right here is round. And they're pretty checkering right here. All this is done, hand done on the checkering. That's some pretty wood on that forearm at the bottom there, isn't it? You see the pretty checkering work. Now, people who don't know much about the double barrel shotguns like this, especially over and under, they're real easy to disassemble. And if you look at it right here, you don't have any screws or anything on the forearm that you have to undo. Right here, you just put your finger in here and pull this up right here, and the forearm comes loose. It's got a little catch underneath here, and by pulling that piece, you can't hardly see it, but by pulling that piece, it releases the catch on it. So now you see the bottom of the barrel here. Okay, guys, once we've taken off the forend here, we have a barrel right here, and these rifles are really easy to disassemble to take the barrel away from the breech right here. And all you have to do is pull your lever right here, this is how you normally would open the barrel right here to put your shells in. Just push this to the right. The barrel comes loose like this. Hold on to the barrel. Make sure you hold on to the barrel good. Because once you pull it far enough, it just disengages. Okay. See, that's how quick it is to take one of these apart. Only a minute or less. And looking at the inside here, set this barrel down. Looking at the inside here, we see this pin design right here, and the barrel has a hook on it that catches right here, so that when you put the barrel back on, it slides in here and hooks right here, and that's what holds the barrel to the breech right here. Okay, and you can tell looking at this, it's very pretty machined, the way it's been milled and so forth. Beautiful work there. And you can see right here, the end of your shells go right here, one here and one at the bottom. And I guess while we're looking at the breech right here, might as well. Okay guys, let's take a look at the barrel. Now on the breech there, you saw that pin I was trying to show you. Well, on the barrel right here, this part catches that pin, hooks down on that pin, and holds the barrel in position once you raise it up, and it locks. And this is your ejector. This right here kicks back to kick out your shells, and it'll shoot them way behind you. Kick them out way behind you when you trip that. And on the other side, I know I keep dropping this view. So that's your ejector. And these are powerful ejectors right here usually. So this part hangs on that part of the breech right here, so that when you put this on and pull it up, it snaps back into place. And look at our barrel from behind. And nice ventilated rib on it that helps in your aiming. And you got a little ball pin right here, and at the end of the barrel you've got a ball type pin right here. And this is the end of our barrel. So when you're shooting shotguns, use these ball pins right here. There's one here and again one at the end, and you can set one on top of the other when you're aiming, or one below the other, or one to the right, one to the left. And if you learn to do that shooting, then you can master kind of the angles, like birds coming at you directly toward you, birds coming at any different angle to you, birds coming horizontally to you. And so there's a technique for using these beads on the barrel right here. But let's see if you can read this right here. And this is Charles Daly. And then on the other side of the barrel here, Miroku firearms, manufactured in Japan. So if you're getting one of these, you want one. You know, I don't think you're going to go wrong if you get Miroku Japanese, because Browning, paid them to make a lot of the Brownings. Well, a number of the Browning rifles and shotguns and stuff like that. So they made Browning guns. And they learned some of the secrets of the Browning, what made it so good, and good quality steel and design and engineering. So they took some of that and they put it into Charles Daly. So, Browning Centaurea, those were pretty expensive. This would be similar to a Browning Centaurea right here. Okay, guys, let's talk about accurizing the barrel on a shotgun. Well, we know that shotguns usually come with especially over and unders. A lot of times with shotguns, you'll see a full choke up here and a modified or improved cylinder below that. So you got two different chokes, and what the choke means it basically squeezing or tapering the barrel here. And in doing so, you get a different pattern from each one of them. If we take a target now, like this master gunsmith friend of mine, what he did was he took a bench rest and he took his shotgun and he put it on the bench rest. And of course he had it all together. And what he was going to do is shoot this gun on the bench rest. And what you do is they use number 8 shot. And usually a lot of times on a box of number 8 shot on your shotgun shells, it'll have like 410 on there. Not that that's the gauge, but 410 is how many shots are in a shotgun shell. How many shots in a shotgun shell. Okay, here's an example of a box of shells right here. And tells you what gauge, 12 gauge shotgun, 2 3/4 inch shells. Some shotguns will shoot a 3 inch, but most of them will be 2 3/4 inch. Number 8 shot, which we use for doves, particularly birds about that size. And of course the shots go down. If you're shooting quail or something like that, or ducks, might use a 4 shot or something like that. Anyway, 1 ounce shot. 1 ounce shot usually means in number 8 shot that the pellets you're going to have 410 pellets. Now here's a shell. You got your primer here, you got your powder here, you got your wadding here, and you've got your shot up here. Now there should be 410 pellets in here. Okay. All right, when you get ready to shoot these shells right here, we notice our barrel. Usually barrels are either full or they're modified or improved cylinder or no choke at all. If you have a full choke barrel, which would be the top barrel on this one, that's generally going to be your full choke barrel, then this shell here, number 8 shot, should have 410 pellets, 410 pellets in it. Okay, so that means that 70% of the shot in here should go into your target. That 30-inch circle at 40 yards, 70% of your pellet should go into that. If you had a modified cylinder, like the bottom one here, then you should have about 60% shot. If you have a improved cylinder, 45%. Improved cylinder, 45% of your shot should go into your target at 40 yards. And if you have a no choke or a cylinder, we call it, then only 25 to 35% of your shot should go into your target at 40 yards. So what does that mean? Okay, well, if you're shooting like what my gunsmith did on this one, is that he was a perfectionist. And what he would do is he'd load his own shells, and it's not hard to load shotgun shells, but he'd load his own shells, and he would count the pellets in there. Well, when you count the pellets, he'd make sure he had exactly however many pellets he wanted, like 400 or 410. A lot of commercial ones are 410 pellets in number 8 shot. And so he knew how many pellets he had in each shell. So he would shoot it, say like the full choke, the top barrel. He would shoot it, and when he shot it, he would go down and count every pellet in that 30-inch circle. And if he didn't have 70% on that full choke, he would hone the barrel. There's a tool that reminds you of a brake cylinder honing system, which goes inside the barrel and spins, and it's got like little whetstones on it, and it kind of cuts away the metal very minutely, not much at all, but it cuts out the barrel. You keep honing that thing back and forth to change the size of the barrels to give you a full choke. Now with him, what he did now, when he shot the full choke, he wanted 70% of his pattern to go in there. So if he had counted out 410 shot, he counted out 410 shot to go in his shell, he should have 287 shot in that 30-inch circle at 40 yards. If he had more or less, he had to work on the barrel to hone it out some more, or not. So if he was shooting for modified or improved cylinder, like if he was shooting for the improved cylinder, 45% of your shot should be in that target at 40 yards in that 30-inch circle. So that would be 184 pellets out of 410. So he would go and count, if he was trying to do it for improved cylinder, he would go and count every shot in there. And it should be close to 184. If it was more or less, then he'd have to hone the barrel. And if you had a modified barrel, 60% of your shot should be going into that target, which would be 246 pellets out of 410. And then if you had a straight barrel, no choke barrel, you only have like 35% of your shot going into the target at 40 yards, which is like 123 pellets. So it is a trial and error thing to accurize one of these barrels, and some people charge, they used to, I don't know what they charge now, but they used to charge about $150 sometime to accurize your barrels, because you got to count the pellets and shoot it and hone it. Keep doing that until you get it right, as perfect as possible. Now you may say, well, it says on my shotgun that it's a full choke, so it should be perfect. No, it's not going to be perfect. If it says full, if it says modified, it's going to be close. It's not going to be precision. The shotgun industry cannot, unless you got high-end guns, they cannot make sure your shotgun shoots 100% full choke or 100% modified or 100% improved or whatnot. They don't have time to do that. But they can get close, yeah. But my friend, he was a perfectionist, and so that's what he did with this shotgun. This is one of the best things you can do to a shotgun. And, if you have a shotgun, you know that you're going to keep the rest of your life. There's just something about it. Sometimes then you don't mind spending the money to accurize it like that. But most guns today have screw-in chokes. I have those. They have screw-in chokes, and now those, I don't know if you can accurize those or not. But okay, what we're going to do now is put this gun back together. Just beautiful machine work. I used to work in a machine shop way, 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 way back. I can tell you, that's a lot of work right there. And you take our barrel, and you see right here, this is where this pin right here catches this piece right here. So you kind of have to put that in there very gently, very carefully. And when they go to pull the barrel up like she's going to catch, let's see if you can see that. When you pull the barrel, it's going to catch right here. Now you push this lever over. Let's see if we get that in focus. Push this lever over and see it. That's it right there. Now what you do not want to do, because see how it looks? If I push this lever right here, then that barrel is going to fall off and hit the floor. So what locks this barrel into place so it can't do that is going to be your forearm. Okay? And it's got to catch right here. And right inside there, if you can see that or not, but that's right in the middle. And so you put this on here like this right here, it catches down here, and then you squeeze it. And that's all it is. See? And now we pull our lever right here, and our barrel does not fall off. It's locked into place. And our ejector here comes up. Now, so that's pretty simple. I put this rag up here because that rubber keeps sticking on the barrel. Makes it a little hard to get out. But guys, this is the Miroku Charles Daly made from 1965 to 1975, somewhere in there. And Miroku made Browning shotguns like the Centaurea design and other weapons. And they learned from Browning some of the engineering concepts to put in the Charles Daly. So out of all the Charles Dalys, there's some high-end Charles Dalys today. In 2010, there are Charles Dalys that won various gold medals. Charles Dalys have been taken into the Olympics as well. They've won a lot of awards for the quality of Charles Daly today. Again, Charles Daly was not a manufacturer. They were the ones who had other people make their guns, and they put their name on it and sold it. So with their kind of checkered past, the company has gone through maybe 15 different hands or more over the years. So you just have to know who made that gun. And at least we know this was made in Japan. Japan has a really good name in making Brownings. And I have a 5-shot Browning made in Japan called the Sweet 16. I'll show you that one day because that's an awesome, oh man, that's just such an awesome shotgun, the 5-shot Browning. And my uncle had the Belgian made one. That was the first ones were made in Belgium, I think. So just wanted to show you the beauty of the Charles Daly. This is a beautiful gun of the Charles Daly by Miroku. Beautiful inlay work there, isn't it? BC Miroku. They made some beautiful guns. Well, Charles Daly didn't, but I mean, they usually bought them out. All hand checkering right here. Beautiful work. Nice ventilated rib. Beautiful deep inscription there that described. Just beautiful work. Miroku Firearms Manufacturing Company, Kochi, Japan. If you find a Charles, pull the trigger, and this has got a sweet pull. I mean, it feels like it's about 3 pounds or something like that on the trigger pull. So that's what you're going to be doing. This safety right here comes straight down, and you push it to the right if you want the bottom barrel. Push it to the left if you want the top barrel. When you get ready to shoot, push it forward. See, it's on the top barrel. O is present right there. And pull your trigger.